If you start moving fast on something, all of a sudden you're already behind. Like it doesn't. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, a year ago, now it's like, why even it's definitely interesting. Most people think why it's a mix. It's going to be like you also use the pimps different levels. They're getting into the process of and other people, you're starting to see the hole. Really good. No, but I think you know what way it is. I do it. I'm gonna just kind of get it warmed up a little. Is it on? Hello, hello, hello. All right. So, everybody, can you hear me? My wife is here and she told me it's time to start. So I do what I'm told. She said, people are waiting, Matt, get started. So anyway, I'll get started. Everyone can like make their way up front. Also, by the way, on that note, it's my wife's birthday. Yeah, and I'm like, what are you doing for my birthday? I'm having an event. All right. Hello. Is that a recording? Yeah, you're playing recording. Can you hear me? That's hilarious. My wife is here and she told me it's time to start, so I do it. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I plugged it into my AI and it popped right back out. Okay. We good? Ethan? All right. First off, thanks for everybody for coming. There could be some more people straggling up. I think they're warming up the pizza truck, so stay tuned for that. Parties. Arguably number 4. You're my number 4. I hope they're not here. Okay. Okay, there you go. Number 1. Sorry, that's what I should have said. That's my number 1. Okay. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. My apologies for the rain. I really was hoping we'd have a nice sunny day. We could go outside, sit under the tent, have some pizza. I want these events to be fun. I hope people are having fun. I hope you can hang out, have some pizza, continue to have fun, meet people. But before I get into my deck, I want to explain what Varato is. Some of you guys know what it is, and some of you guys are new. But basically, I've owned an agency for a long time. I got started in 1995 in digital. So I've been in the digital space for 30 years. And I've seen a lot of businesses struggle with digital technologies. I've seen a lot of big disruptions that have happened as a result of digital technologies. And I've got to meet a lot of business owners that are in a transition phase of their businesses. Generationally, they're in a transition phase. They're in a transition with tech. Sometimes they know what to do. Sometimes they don't know what to do. But they really need good advice. And the big companies have good advice. The big enterprises, the big corporations, they already have consultants. They've been working with them for years. They have good advice. What I'm trying to do is get content out to the mid-market, to regional businesses that are mom and pop businesses that have been in business for 30, 40, 100 years, some of the clients that we work with. And I want them to know that the content we're bringing is unadulterated, unbiased, and honest. And today we're bringing some companies in to talk about their technology from overseas, from Spain. Shopware is based in Germany, so you're getting some new companies that come in and talk about their technologies. But Varato is a podcast and videos and content and networking and partnerships to bring thought leadership out to businesses that need to and want to modernize. So the concept is, stay curious, be open to innovation, and be ready for essentially what's going to be the next huge wave of technology revolution. I think it's on us right now, and I think we need to be prepared. But we don't need to be alarmed, but we need to be prepared. And we need to stay curious. So that's what Varato is. And hopefully some people have found it helpful. We're going to continue doing it, and we're going to continue having these events, and we're going to continue with the podcast. And we're hoping that we can find people that want to join with us. If you have a story to tell, or you know somebody that has a story to tell, let me know, reach out to us. We want to hear about businesses that are 30, 40, 50 years old, and they've transformed themselves to become better, smarter, more efficient businesses. That's why we're doing what we do. And we want other businesses to hear from those businesses. The last thing you want to hear from a lot of times is people that feel
thought it was about.
Yeah. Oh.
But I've never heard it.
Around.
I've never heard it said. I don't say it, but never heard it said. And then it sounded stupid when I said it. Violence at NBC.
Yeah, I'd be around your back. I want your music.
See, violence at NBC. GE com. I mean,
Well, what Allison should know,
what
what
is internet anyway?
internet is that massive computer
Right.
network. The one that's
Right.
really big now.
Right, that's
What
it.
do you mean that's big? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it to communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
No, she can't say anything in 10 seconds.
All right. Welcome to the 90s in a couple ways on that little clip. But that was 1994. And, you know, I got started in 1995. And the point is, people didn't even know what the internet was. That was 30 years ago. And the people didn't really start using the internet for business stuff until maybe a few years after that. And then it just kind of took off for the last 30 years. 30 years in my mind is a generation of business. So there's a generation of business that has passed since the internet started. I think what's happening now is that we're going to have an AI revolution. It's starting now. And the point we're at now is like where we were in 94 with the internet. So you're going to think about, how is AI going to impact my business? How is it going to change? We know about as much as of how AI is going to change our businesses now as we did about the internet in 1994. That's where we're at. We do know that it's going to have a big impact, but the details are going to be sussed out over the next 20 years. So there is going to be an AI revolution. The question is, how is it going to evolve everything? So again, a lot of text, but basically the things that we know it will do is it will automate knowledge workflow. So basically, what do we know? Can we improve repetitive tasks? We're seeing that already. So like document processing, document in, document out, you do a web bot, you automate that process. Supercharged decision making. So essentially, AI will become the co-pilot for executives. Every executive will have an AI bot or a chat bot or a language model bot, or a few things or something that's been custom built for them to help them make decisions, run reports, analyze data, look for trends. Hyper personalization. So this is where I feel like Connecticut has an advantage. So Connecticut has a very high-tech and specialized manufacturing base. 4,800 manufacturers in the state of Connecticut that are very technical. In the scope of being advanced technology on the manufacturing side, they're very on the advanced side. But they're small, but that could play right into where things are going. So hyper-personalization at scale enables businesses to create deeply personalized experiences for every customer. So if you kind of like think more about that, it's essentially, what does this customer want that's different than the standard product? Can we personalize it for lots of different potential customers? Transform product and service design. It's kind of the similar idea. And then create entirely new business models. So whatever that means, we'll see. But the other, what we suspect is that organizations will shrink. They will generate the same amount of output with fewer people. But that doesn't mean that the AI will be replacing people. It actually means that people enabled with the power of AI will be more productive and therefore more valuable. Disrupt hierarchies, fragment markets even further, and shift competitive moats. So essentially, like, there were gatekeepers in certain industries that had a stronghold in that industry, and I think disruption is going to create opportunities for game-changing technologies and companies. So I think that's all going to happen soon. So in other words, it's going to create massive opportunities. And I think a lot of opportunities for mid-market businesses or existing businesses with customer bases that want to leverage new technologies to make new creative products and better customer experiences. So pivoting from that as the bigger picture, business to business e-commerce. So a lot of the people here are in e-commerce and business to business e-commerce in particular. The technology companies that are here today, they play in that space. And one of the opportunities that people, I think we want to highlight is that in 2024, B2B e-commerce was $19.34 trillion. They're expecting by 2030, it'll be $47 trillion. So that's a compounded annual rate of 16.1%. So there's going to be a massive growth in B2B e-commerce, businesses selling to businesses, self-servicing their own orders, automating the order flows. That's going to scale incredibly rapidly over the next 5 years, and it's going to dramatically outpace B2C. B2C is going to continue to grow, but not at the same rate. This is kind of like standard reporting coming out from a bunch of different entities. You know, you can fact check this if you want, but this is what most people are saying. And what they're seeing is that e-commerce experience on the B2B side needs to mimic more of what people are already used to on the B2C side. So personalized B2B product recommendations, AI-powered quoting and pricing optimizations, predictive customer retention and churn prevention, AI-assisted customer support and chatbots. This is how AI can be helping businesses today. This is what people are already doing today. And catalog and content enrichment. So a lot of stuff there. Factors driving growth, digitization, changing buyer expectations, and technology advancements marketplaces. So anyway, that's the big picture of where things are potentially going. Personalization, self-service portals, omni-channel experiences, data-driven decisions. All this is kind of part of that same bucket. So does anyone have any questions about that? Like, not only is AI going to be, so how AI is playing into e-commerce is going to be doing some of the data enrichment stuff. It's going to be automating some flows, but it's essentially kind of like where the internet went, it kind of hit on everything. So there's going to be little AI pieces to everything. But getting down to brass tacks, I want to introduce our other two companies to talk about their technologies. I did the big picture on AI just to say it's going to be driving innovation, but your platforms need to be on future-proof, ready, cloud-based systems already if you're going to get into leveraging AI. So anyway, on that note, Olivera, do you want to come? Olivera? Yeah, okay. We can, this is Alvaro from Spain. He's the CEO of SalesLayer. He's co-founded SalesLayer. And give us a second and we'll get him set up to talk. Thanks. Do you need this?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Let's see if this wants to work. Oh, you are tall, or I'm short. I don't know exactly. Why is this not willing to?
There you go. There you
Okay, so as Matt was explaining, B2B commerce, e-commerce, we've been hearing a lot that is catching up. B2B is catching up B2C. But as we can see, is that it's already surpassing, and there are many things that we've been trying to learn from B2C, but in nature is very different. And this is what I would like to talk today, is about the difference between reach and depth. Just to introduce ourselves, we are quite established product information manager. We've been in this space for over 10 years now. We have hundreds of customers in over 50 countries. These are some of our B2B customers that trust SalesLayer for their product information management. We have also B2C customers, and we see many differences. But the main one, well, there's a common goal, of course, that is every company wants to make profits, but there's a main difference, that is the paths in B2B and B2C are different. In terms of B2C, companies need to grow outwards, versus in B2B having to work to grow inward. And when I talk about inward, it's about operational excellence. And I will give you a few examples. So when we talk about main objectives in B2C, it's all about reach. It's about acquiring new customers, volume, users, visits on the websites, conversions, more clicks. That's the most important part. Then once you get the users, it's about the experience, delivering a good experience to the customer so they repeat. And it's about then loyalty is important, but not as important as acquiring new customers. In B2B, it's very different because it's exactly the opposite. We know that we are a B2B company. We sell also to companies. We know that getting leads is the easy part, but selling is really what gets where it gets tough, right? Helping with the decision. So the most important part is growing revenue from existing accounts. We have customers already buying some of our products. How do we help them discover our full range and they can buy more from us? And they repeat every year. And it comes hand in hand with the experience in B2B will be more about operational excellence, so having a very smooth operation with our customers. And acquiring new customers is important, but not as important as the previous 2 points. So how do we translate this into digital commerce? So I will start by the last one. So acquisition. So acquisition would be for acquisition, we'll be using marketplaces like Granger or our public catalogs. This is not where we will find the volume of sales, but where companies might find different suppliers for products that they are already buying from an existing vendor where they have some framework agreements or so, but they want to go out and see what are the other options, and maybe they find our brand and they decide to start working with us in the long term and maybe sign some framework agreements. And that's where we can have our public website or we can be on marketplaces. The core will be the efficient operations, and that's where we try to turbocharge our ERP. So it's basically, we are trying to manage all the product information, we try to build all the tools that our customers need out of the ERP. We are gonna slow it down. And if you've tried, you know how difficult it is, right? So that's where we try to enrich the information, try to be compliant, and give tools to our sales reps and our customers to make their purchase decision. And where I see the big opportunities about private catalogs, once we have already built the relationship with our customers, what they are gonna want is, okay, I want the products, all the product information in this specific format, on the agreed terms and prices that we have defined, and even I want your products integrated with my procurement platform, okay? Because the end customer is not just another company, are the users that are working for that specific customer. And that's where private catalogs that you can build either with a solution with like we have that are the instant catalogs, or with Ascend from Harris Webworks, or with Shopware. I'm going to show you some examples. So all in all, the priorities are different. In B2C, content is about discoverability and brand. In B2B, it's about precision, trust, efficiency. So more or less is a key role. Product information is always a key role, but used differently. So that's what I was trying to say before. In B2B, it's about operational excellence. In B2C, you need to find new customers. In B2B, it's about taking care of your customers. So B2B content is not just to sell, but is to prevent errors, okay? Is to reduce cost and make more profit, but most importantly is to build trust. And that's what the product information management does, and that's where we can help. So basically, with the PIM, you can get all the data that is around your company, probably in a bunch of Excel spreadsheets, in your ERP, in your DAM system, if you have one. Then you centralize everything in the cloud. You can enrich the product information collaboratively. You have tools to analyze the product data. And then once you have the data there, you can push it across multiple channels. Could be your website, could be marketplaces, could be creating tools for your sales reps, could be embedding your product information in the procurement systems of your customers, okay? And I'm gonna show you in a minute how it could look like. But talking about AI, you could replace any of the entry points or exit points and would be the same. In the future, we will have many different AI agents helping our business, but the AI is only going to be as powerful as our data model. The AI will read through or in depth in our catalog much more than a human could do, but we need a strong product information and a strong data model for it. So I'm going to show you some examples of the tools that we can build having a strong PIM in place. First of all, a good product database could look like this, where we can see all the product information all together, and we can have this quality score that you can see here, and here we will be spotting the products that need more attention in terms of product information, or the products that are scoring better. We could have all the attributes here and all the traceability of the product data, so we can see who changed what. We can have all our assets in one place. We can have also quality reports to see the completeness attribute by attribute. And once the product information is perfect, we can have also, of course, translation to many different languages or different systems. That's where we can decide on where to push our product data and build tools. Like, for instance, it could be our website, or could be, for instance, an integration with Ascent from Harris Webworks. So with all these good quality product information integrations is where I can show you a couple of examples of customers that have been with us for many years. These are not huge companies. These are not the Abbotts or the Shells of the world, but these are companies that are in the 50 to 100 million revenue, okay? They are B2B, they sell to architects, they sell to specialists, and you can combine, once you have good product data, you can combine beautiful content that can be automatically pushed to your website, and you can combine it with super specific data. So for instance, CAD instructions, BIM, or for instance, in this example, they are automatically creating over 50,000 data sheets like this, where you can have all the attributes in different languages or unit systems. You can build many different tools to make your B2B experience much better. Like, for instance, a configurator where you can build if you have a configurable product, you can build your systems here, where architects can come and design the projects. This could be an example, right? And then you can embed all these in private catalogs, so customers can have the products that they buy normally at their rates and conditions, right? And this could be another example. For instance, this company sells professional audio for stadiums and or for instance cruises, right? And you could have a similar experience. So once you have all the product data, you can share it in many different ways with all the technical specifications, and you could provide very good support. Like, for instance, a very good spare part searching tool where you can find by keyword or by families, etc., that are as important as selling the products, right? So anyway, all in all, once we are able to centralize the data in one single source of truth, it's just about how can I serve my customers better? How can I give them the tool that they need? How can I present the data in the format they need, that they need, and how I can have the product information updated in real time across all the different channels. And that's the best way to be ready for the next wave, that is artificial intelligence. That's it's all about data. Large LLM, right? Large language models. It's about data. So anyway, this is what I wanted to present today. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the invitation, Matt.
Thank you.
It's back to you, or Shopware?
All right, next on tap, Shopware. And then Shopware's come, well, you guys have offices in the States, but they're, I'll let them explain. Do you need that one or that one?
Yeah. You know me. Is that good for you?
She wasn't plugged in all the way.
There you go.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you all for coming out today. We appreciate your time. So today, Audrey and I are going to talk about unifying B2B operations for digital success and what we think about AI and sales reps. So my name is Christine Pacelli. I'm a senior account executive at Shopware, and I've been in the e-commerce world for 10 years. And prior to that, I was in the finance industry for 10 years.
Audrey Bargeber, nice to meet you all. So I am on the partnership side for Shopware, working hand in hand with a lot of our SIs. So working with the Harris WebWorks folks, therefore with the Varato folks, but thrilled to be here. Been in e-commerce for about a decade now as well.
So in the next 20 minutes, we'll talk about, first, we're going to talk about the history of Shopware and who we are. And then we're going to talk about some feedback from the field around AI and sales reps. And then we're going to talk about how Shopware, what our philosophy behind AI and sales reps is for the next generation, and how we're going to help sales reps sell more. The Shopware story. So in the top left-hand corner, you'll see our two founders, Sebastian and Stefan, and they founded Shopware in 2000. So we just had our 25th anniversary in January, and we were actually able to go over to Shopping, Germany and celebrate with them. So that was a wonderful experience to have. But they were 16 and 17 years old when they founded Shopware, and they are still a major part of Shopware and still innovating and still co-founders and CEOs. I also just like to point out, I think it's just a really cool story, but you'll see the headquarters of Shopware in the top left-hand corner, and it's in a very, very small village in Germany. And back in 2019, 2021, they decided that they wanted to build a new building, and it's the tallest building in the small village. They actually had to ask the church if it was okay if it was above the church steeple. And they said yes, because they employ most of the village.
Very German.
It's very German. Yes. And so there's a couple other things on here that we should dig deep into and why we're in the space. So we've been around for 25 years, but we've actually only come into the North American market in the last 3 years. And there's a couple reasons why Shopware decided that we wanted to do this, and why we thought we were a good market fit and where there was a gap in the market. So as you all know, there's not a lot of B2B platforms out there, especially for mid-market, there's so many customizations. It's so complex. You all need enterprise features, but you can't pay the SAP and the Oracle prices. And so we really saw that gap we came into North America 3 years ago. we're 70% employee owned still. And in 2020, we got some investments from PayPal and Carlyle to help us invest into the North American market and also to help us invest into Shopware 6. So we are an open source platform, PHP and Symfony based. And before Shopware 6, there was a Shopware 5. And in the very German way, instead of wanting to refactor code and kind of spaghetti stuff together, they were like, nope. They got rid of everything. Like they started from scratch. They wanted to make sure that we were API first, that we could innovate fast with the emerging technologies that were happening, and that we were able to do that without, a lot of e-commerce platforms now are having to kind of plug things together to make social selling work and to make agentic AI work. And for us, that's not the case because of the way that we built Shopware 6. Again, in the very German way, in December of 2019, instead of just saying in 2020, we released Shopware 6. It has come out. And so we're also the most innovative e-commerce platform today. We are a 60-40 split. We do 60% B2B, and then we do 40% of the B2C market. We have over 50,000 customers worldwide, and we have global leadership. We are the 6th highest e-commerce platform, and we're actually the #1 platform in the DACH market, and we own 25% of all e-commerce in the DACH market. Because we're open source, we cannot see all revenue that flows through, but of what we can see, we had $24 billion flow through last year. And just in the last couple of years, because we came over to North America, the analysts started to get excited and started to recognize us. And the accolades that we're getting over the last 3 years are just amazing. So we've gotten a lot of recognition. We're getting a lot more press, especially being in North America. And it's just been a really great place to be a part of. Again, so the power of being open, right? The power of open source, of owning your own data, of not being afraid that you're going to be kicked off, of we are able to do a lot of things that other e-commerce platforms aren't able to. And as you all know, again, B2B is complex. There's a lot of customizations that you need to do. We don't have a locked checkout, so you can make checkout what you need it to. You can use any technology you want. We like to call it, we're a Lego palace, and you can plug different things in as you need them, or you can use what we have for you. We actually have a very different way that we do licensing also. We have a flat license, and we make sure that no one will ever have to pay overages. And so that's another thing in B2B that's really important, especially since your margins are so small that you need to know what your cost is going to be for running online. And then on this slide too, we kind of like to call this our NASCAR slide, but these are some of the B2B companies that run on Shopware currently today. So, I'm working sales and I have a lot of experience. Shopware actually doesn't believe that AI will take over a sales rep's job. And for that, I can say I am very thankful. I would like to have a career in sales. So Shopware has been very different in the way that we're innovating with AI. And we don't think it will replace, again, sales reps, but we want it to enhance what sales reps are able to do and how much sales reps are able to sell. And as we all know, in personal or if we're buying for our business, there's 2 different ways in which you really buy, right? You buy rationally. Price, product features, does it match? The offerings, the quotes, like all of that. But there's also that emotional buying decision too, right? There's the storytelling, there's the relationship, there's the trust, which you've mentioned is super big in B2B. The storytelling, the gamification around it. AI will never be able to touch that part of the selling experience. And that's where sales reps really come into play. And, Matt was talking about how $19 trillion for B2B e-commerce last year. The number is even larger for B2B as a whole. And 90% of the total revenue that was sold in B2B last year was done by a sales rep. So how do we enable them to be more efficient and to get out into the field and to be able to sell more but also do less of some of the things that AI can do for you. And Shopware is not the only people that believe this, right? Like you'll see people saying like hire AI, not humans. But the smart analysts that are out there and the smart people out there will say like, yeah, AI's got game, but again, they're not going to replace a sales rep. They're going to help the sales rep make more money. They're going to help the sales rep be able to work the long tail better. So this is our B2B sales rep. You have Roberto the human on the side, and then I like to call it Roboto on the other side. But we don't, like, again, we believe it's more of a, you know, a 50-50 split. You know, Roberta is going to have value. She's going to enable trust. And the robot can do some of the administrative tasks that need to happen, or some of the legal workflows, or some of the price lists, some of the things that, like, I don't like doing anyways, right? In a 40-hour work week, they say about 25 hours is spent on the, like, if you have 50 accounts, let's say, your top 10 accounts that make 80% of your revenue. Another 5 hours is on administrative tasks, and another 10 hours is on internal meetings that your boss makes you do. Sorry, Matt. And so what Shopware wants to do is Shopware wants to take those 5 hours and even more than that and give that back to the sales rep. You need to work your long tail. You still have 40 other accounts that make you money, 40 accounts that depend on your technology or, you know, what you give to your customers. And so how does Shopware help them do that? So one of the first things that we like to talk about is our native AI Copilot. We had the name first. It is not associated with Microsoft Copilot, which everyone thinks is trash. Sorry, you're streaming this. I probably should have said that.
We're being recorded.
We're being recorded.
It's gonna be a meme now.
Yeah. So this is one of those things, right? Like because we had a brand new e-commerce platform, we were one of the first companies that was able to inherently have AI within the e-commerce platform. And with Carlisle, they also have some investments in OpenAI. And so our CEOs were able to meet with the founders of OpenAI and have discussions and talks with them about the next generation of AI, which right now is agentic AI. So some of the things that you can do within Shopware is text to image, say, I would like to see a fastener. Please put it up. You can also do things like have it write your product description and do reviews and summary and translations for you. So that's some of the things that Shopware has started to do in order to help enhance the sales rep.
Perfect. All right. So as Christine was stating, Shopware is not new to the B2B space, and we're really poised to continue to support the B2B world. So we understand that B2B commerce is still heavily and mostly relationship driven, right? The sales reps, the sales organizations, that's the backbone of the opportunity here, the backbone of your company, of your revenue. And sales reps should not be replaced by technology or agentic AI. But you can't get away from it. You have to learn to harness it and you have to learn to use it. And so one of the things that Shopware has continued to do is keep that in mind as we're building out our platform to continue to support the B2B space. So one thing here is our digital sales room. It's a really fantastic feature. So we've all heard the rumor or, the thought process that a sales rep can hit their goal with the top 20% of their book of business. The other 80% is just cherry on top, right? They really only care about that 20%. That's who they're whining and dining and going out to meet in the market, right? That's how they're going to hit their number. Anything else is just some easy money. So Shopware created something called digital sales rooms, which really helps a sales rep tap into and activate that long tail 80%. Right there can be easy money, easy wins. It allows you to focus on your go-to top 20% while now being able to support that longer tail there. So it was actually created out of COVID times. We had a large client, well, many large clients in Europe that COVID hit, their businesses were shut down. Their B2B sales reps were stuck at home. They weren't out in the market. They weren't at industry events. They weren't, in store or in their, clients' offices having that face-to-face meeting, having that face-to-face sales motion. everything was done on Zoom. And that didn't necessarily work. And so we created Digital Sales Room, and the best way to share Digital Sales Room is going to be in a quick mini demo here, but it is very similar to what telehealth did for the medical field and for doctors. They were able to support their patients on the go, on the move, and fit better into their lifestyle. So Digital Sales Room takes that concept, and we allow sales reps to be able to support their clients on the go virtually, but still maintaining that relationship-driven sales process. So I am not a solutions architect, bear with me. This is just going to be a quick, brief demo, but I do think it's really important to kind of showcase what we're talking about. So this is simply an example, but Digital Sales Room, as you can see on the left-hand side there, you have the buyer, and then on the right-hand side there, you have the sales rep. The buyer has somewhat like a website experience where they're able to scroll through, they're able to see the products and the catalogs, and they're able to click on into individual products, but operate independently. On the sales side, right, on the seller view, you see something entirely different. They are also able to scroll independently while monitoring what their buyer is doing and looking at. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see they have this godlike view is what we like to call it, right? And so that godlike view is all of their sales notes, all of the pricing and the bundling and their margins and their commission and, right, the configuration. And so they're able to have all of that hidden behind the scenes. Again, they're able to monitor what the buyer is looking at. They're able to drag them to a specific product if they would like to talk about it and bring them into a product page and take a deeper dive, right? What color shoe are you looking for, right? What sizes, what heel height, right? And if you're looking at this specific shoe, let's make sure that I'm showcasing you a couple others that fit the same mold that you're looking for. And so they're able to build, you know, a like list. They can add it to a cart. They can take a look at what had they purchased before. How can we adjust any of those purchases and continue to move forward? So again, this stemmed from COVID times. So this is actual live example from the Wortman Group, which is one of our clients out of Germany. They're the largest B2B distributor. COVID shut them down, and they were the first to use Digital Sales Room out in the wild. And they still use it today. So it's a very exciting story. Now their sales reps use it in a different capacity than they did during COVID times because they were able to open back up and go in market and see their top 20%. But they can efficiently now support that longer tail 80%. And so now all of a sudden, rather than focusing on just that top 20%, their book is so much healthier. And, you know, as the sales layer folks were highlighting earlier, you really need to focus in on your book of business, and customer acquisition in the B2B world almost comes secondary. And so this allows you to then have time and energy to be able to capitalize on your book and focus therefore afterwards on the acquisition portion as well. So happy to talk about this a bit more, but I do like to be able to showcase the thought process behind Digital Sales Room. It allows folks to really be able to envision all of the different use cases here. As you can imagine, this is just one simple example, but applying this to a whole different multitude of industries, there's a lot of flexibility within here. So Digital Sales Room, there's 3 different ways to deploy it. So you can do a pre-curated session. So the idea is this is a recorded session similar to what we were just walking you through, but you're able to send this on over. And this is great for a current client who they do not have time to talk to you during the 9 or 5. Your contact is the CEO and he is in the store or the warehouse or the manufacturing plant, or your contact is the VP of sales and he is traveling, he's on the road, he's at industry shows. He will get back to you. So instead, you take the pre-curated session, you can send it on over based off of previous conversations. They can then get to it on their own time and you can work back and forth that way. But it maintains that relationship-driven sales process that we know is required within B2B. The rep guided session is something that we just walked through. And then we have the showroom or hybrid session. This is, again, the post-COVID times. So this is taking Digital Sales Room into the wild. So I like to use the example of Imagine an interior designer walking through a showroom floor with their client with them, whether the client's on a phone call, maybe they're, on a FaceTime, or they're actually there with them. And they're able to say, all right, you'd like this couch, this chair. Let's make sure that the dimensions fit into the room that you're looking for, and you actually want a different color with a different fabric. Do they do leather or performance fabric? Can you tell my mom's an interior designer? This is always a safe one for me. But you can see that they're able to maintain the relationship, but keep all of those notes within there as well. So digital sales room can certainly be utilized in the wild as well. So sales agent. Again, we at Shopware understand that the sales reps, time is money. They need to be able to focus on building relationships, maintaining relationships, and AI and technology should be able to take away the mindless tasks, right? Allow them to focus on strategy, account management, account acquisition. And so sales agent is an example of where we utilize AI to help streamline a lot of the more day-to-day tedious tasks. So things like automating rebuys, right? So sales agent can help you to automate rebuys. They can help to automate modification within rebuys and then connect directly back into your CRM. So the idea is easy money. Rebuys are supposed to be some of the easiest money, the easiest wins. Let AI and technology take care of that for you so you can focus more on the strategy pieces there. And then lastly, just to wrap it up, everything that we were highlighting here today, the big takeaway is sales reps and sales organizations are not going anywhere. AI and technology cannot and should not replace them, but they're no longer buzzwords. Agentic AI is no longer a buzzword. It is here, and sales organizations need to understand how to harness those two items and be able to better themselves and prepare for the future. But it's certainly not something that we need to be scared of. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. That was
Are you
awesome.
plugging back in?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
we're almost done, folks. Thanks for everybody coming and listening. But one of the things about these talks is that there's a ton of complexity in the details, and we all in our decks and our talks try to simplify things as much as possible. But there is a lot to it. But part of the reason we do the networking thing is that if you had a question and you didn't want to answer it, or you want to know more about something, everyone's going to be here. Feel free to talk to anybody that was Alvaro. Thank you very much. Christine and Audrey, incredible job. Beautiful decks. You made me look really bad. But I'll wrap it up here real quick. So I don't know everyone's experience with like the e-commerce space, product normalization, what AI is doing, ERP systems connecting into PIM systems, connecting into e-commerce systems. That's my world. We're integrators, so we talk the talk all the time. Sometimes our descriptions don't really hit the mark when we're talking to a new audience. So I'm available for the rest of the evening. Obviously, you can talk to me, but I'm just going to give you a couple like quick little takeaways. Okay, this one. So I knew that. Yeah, anyone want to watch a Sling Blade? Okay. So this is a very, there's a lot of information on it, but this is a description of where a tech stack is. So your tech stack is essentially, you're gonna have your marketing tools. There's a million marketing tools out there. So think of that like a big set of marketing tools. Finding new customers, right? This is your Google ads, this is your website and organic leads. This is your meta ad campaigns. This could be very complex to your business, but that's just one step. That's where awareness and discovery. So this, okay, up here is the customer journey, 8 steps. Awareness and discovery, research and evaluation, quote price and negotiation, purchase checkout, order confirmation tracking, delivery, post-sale support and retention. This is the goal. 8, get them to buy again. Big green boxes are where these pieces of your tech stack are going to touch your customers in this customer journey, these 8 steps. Shopware is going to be right in here, all along depending on how you're using it, all along the way. Can you find it? Did you get the information you needed? Does it match what you're looking for? Did you get a good price? Can you negotiate the price? Can you check out? Obviously, confirmation, tracking, post-sale support. Shopware is going to be there along the way. Sales layer is in this area here where you're putting up the information and you're making sure that it's accurate. It's the way the customer wants it. The specs are there the way they need to be. They can search, they can sort, they can find it. Shopware can't do what it does without good data. And that's essentially what sales layer is. Single source of truth. Get all my data in one spot. Then I can start on this customer journey. But if you don't have your data structured, your product data, people won't be able to find you. And a lot of people in the B2B space are unaware that the new customers are searching for them online right now. And a lot of them don't have their products online. And there might be a big buyer out there that is not finding you because they're searching for your stuff and can't find it. So you've got to get your data organized and you've got to get it online. The last 2 are your CRM and your ERP, but this is essentially your tech stack and how it touches each step of the customer journey. And then we have a platform called Ascend, but it basically a simplified version of this and how it would work with sales layer and shopware is that our piece of software Ascend connects the rest of it together. So systems integrators, right? We integrate systems and we create data flow. So if you have your data in your ERP, you push it into sales layer, you enrich it, and then you push it into shopware. The orders come through, boom, back into NetSuite. This is a very simplified version of what we do for businesses all the time. We have a platform Ascend, but if you're using this tech stack, we can basically plug you right in. So over the last 5 years, we put thousands of hours into building a platform that can take data that's normalized in a PIM, and you can get it out to multi-channels for tons of different e-commerce experiences really fast. What used to take thousands of hours, we've reduced it down to hundreds of hours. And this just from knowing what customers need and building a platform where a lot of this stuff is pre-built. So again, kind of the same point, but you've got your product catalog, sales layer organizes your data, you push it out to different platforms, and then shopware is on the top where you can build different catalogs and different kinds of buying experiences. Just another illustration that might help people kind of visualize what this is. I won't get into that. This is so a lot of the future of AI. I'll explain it real quick. AI is both big and surgical. So think of surgical as like, I have this thing and I keep having to do it every day, and it takes all my time. Have a robot do it for you, a web bot or whatever. That's the scalpel. The big machine of your business that can make it smarter and more competitive and find new customers and retain those customers is based on the experiences they've already had and the way they're reporting back to you as a company. That data is there, but people can't see it all in one spot. The big machine of AI is getting everything in a single database. So that tech stack, you feed it all back to a single database, and then you transform that into something that's understandable. So up here on this dashboard is a single customer journey, their experience with this entity through all of those phases of that customer journey and those touch points on your entire tech stack. You push all that back into a single database, you normalize it based on what you need to see, and you generate a report, a dashboard. And then you use AI to analyze that data to get smarter. That's the future of business. That's the big machine of AI. And then there's all the surgical strikes of AI in between all the little steps. So there's lots to it. But this is something that I think smart businesses will be doing in the future. You need to own your data. This is one way to do it. And then again, I I used AI to make this image. Think of data as AI food. Basically, if you feed it junk, it's going to get sick. And if you feed it good data, it's going to be healthy. So it's all about data. It's all about clean data, normalized data, understandable data, accurate data. And that is it. So if anybody has any questions, we'll all be milling around. Come up to me. I thank everybody for coming out. I know it was a crappy rainy day, but the pizza truck's warmed up and it's free. So get yourself some pizzas. There's drinks on the table. Enjoy your time here. We're going to be kicking it till 8 o'clock. So stay as long as you want. And I really thank everybody for coming. All right.